Hello there folks, welcome back to the Chap's Guide. My name is Ash and I am your host on this journey through men's style, self-development and personal grooming. And let me talk about knowing when it's time to take a break, because that's where I am right now. I'm taking a break. And we often neglect it, don't we? Because we live in this fast-paced world where we're all keeping so many balls up in the air as the sort of the juggler of our lives. We might have demanding careers, families which require quite a bit of investment of time, and a number of other things, other commitments on ourselves which chip away at your self-care, your mental well-being as time goes on. I know, absolutely, I'll admit this, they do for me. I've got 4 income streams which I juggle at the same time. Each of those 4 jobs have certain planning requirements, certain pressures and stresses which are very much part of what they do. I honestly thought when I retired from full-time work 4 years ago that life would get easier. Do you know what? I think I am busier now than I ever was when I just had one big job. And that takes, chunks out of you over a period of time. Not only that, but of course I am a father, right? I've got a teenage son, trying to help him on his way, get him in the right direction for life. I'm a child, a son myself, and I have elderly parents. So, I keep an eye on them, look out for them when I can. And I'm also a husband. And my wife has requirements of me as well. Do this in the garden, fix that shelf. We all know what it's like. And all of these things impinge upon the time that you set aside for yourself. And it's very easy to invest so heavily of yourself, of your own time, into other things that you neglect your self-care. And the man who does so spirals towards a well-being crisis. You can easily find yourself walking into burnout, and you're going to be good for nobody at that point. So it's really important to recognize when it is time to take a break, when to step off the conveyor belt of life and just take some time for yourself. Now, I knew that I was coming to that period in my life recently, and that is why I took a break. That's why I'm here now, taking a sabbatical. But I'm going to give you the reasons why I knew it was time for me to get off that conveyor belt and take time for myself. Now, one of the reasons I knew it was time for me to take a break was a sense of constant tiredness. Do you know what? I normally have quite a lot of pep in my step. I'm quite a sort of zingy guy. But after a long period of lots of pressures and stress, over the winter period, I found myself having no desire to do anything. The things which normally gave me pleasure, I wasn't looking forward to. There was a definite sense of lethargy about me. And another thing for me, I really struggle to sleep when I'm in a stressy sort of mood. And I was finding I was having really crappy night's sleep. And it just takes the glow off the life that you're living, I find, when you come to a point like that. You're just broken down to a point and you just can't be bothered anymore. But some of the things I find that helps, some actionable steps, if you will, is yes, definitely to prioritize sleep. Now, I've learned that sleep hygiene, protecting my sleep is really important. So I always schedule myself, it sounds ridiculous to say this, but I do. I schedule myself at least 7 hours of sleep every night. So that means I allow at least 8 hours or maybe 8.5 hours of a rest period at night. So it allows me half an hour to get ready for bed and half an hour to get up in the morning. So if you're in the habit of going to bed at midnight or 1 in the morning and you have to get up at 6 or 7, you're not scheduling enough time for your sleep. So treat sleep as an absolute commodity. And the other thing you need to do is exercise really helps as well. Do you know, exercise is one of the things which tends to drop off when you're a bit exhausted. It's one of the things you stop doing. Oh, I can't be bothered to go to the gym, or I can't be bothered to go out for a run. But it is at just that very point that becomes most important for you. Because going to the gym, well, yes, you are going to release energy. But I have found that releasing energy actually builds more energy in my body. It helps me to sleep better that night after I've been to the gym. So it works in that regard. It builds a healthy routine as well. Because, if you're going to do something healthy every other day or every day, going to the gym, going for a walk, going for a run, that routine helps in breaking this sense of lethargy that I'm left with. And finally, it gives you a positive achievement, doesn't it? When you go to the gym or walk or run or whatever your bag is for taking exercise, you've done something positive. You look at the the number of steps you've achieved on the app on your phone, or however you sort of measure your exercise, and you think, yeah, I've done something good today. And that sense of positivity helps in breaking that sense of lethargy, and definitely works. So for me, I knew it was time to take a break when I was getting to the point that I couldn't be bothered to do those things that I knew would be useful for me. Now, another reason when I know it's time for me to take a break is I start to feel emotional changes in my outlook towards life, because I'm generally a very robust individual, right? My life path has made me quite a tough person, right? It's knocked off, or it's rounded off the edges of the person that I am, and I'm quite able to deal with most things that I encounter in life, and they don't get under my skin. But I know it's time to take a break when that's not true anymore. When I get a little snappy at the people around me, I can lose my temper a lot more easily than I would ever ordinarily do. Or actually, another thing it does with me, I find myself becoming irrationally emotional. If I'll see something on the television or I'll read something in a newspaper, and I find myself getting unusually sad, maybe even shedding a tear over it, I know that things are mounting up and it's probably time to do something about it, to take a little bit of a break. And the actionable steps, well, there are quite a few things you can do, which I do. I normally set boundaries. So I will say from that point on, I'm not taking on any extra work. If I get called by some of the people and bodies that I work for and they ask me to take on, an unexpected task or do an extra job for them, it'll be, nope, I have hit my limit. That is it. I am done, and I'm going to do the minimum for the next week. And that's all I'm going to do, because I need to take a break from, fast paced, doing things, one thing after another all the time. And the other thing you need to do, certainly what I do, is it's almost like pushing a button. I engage mindfulness mode in my life. Now that can mean anything to you. You might be a follower of meditation. For me, I spend more time outdoors. I love nature. I'll go up into the woods. I'll have a fire. I will cook my lunch over that fire. It's like taking a day out. It can be anything. Whatever pushes your buttons, which is your mindfulness mode. That's what you've got to do to help reset yourself. And let's never forget, right? If it gets to the point where you're doing these things, my suggestions, and it's not helping, you can always reach out for serious help. There are organizations and bodies out there, and I wouldn't presume to recommend any to you that you can reach out to, and they can provide you support, be it a local counsellor, somebody you can talk to, maybe just a buddy, meet up, go down the pub and have a bloody good chat about it. And sometimes that's all that you need to do to get yourself on track. It's just take a break from the normality and catch your breath. Now, the last little thing I'll tell you that I noticed when I realised it was time to take a break was I was noticing a decrease in my performance and a reduction in my engagement with the world around me. Because, my output in life was going down. I film a number of videos each week for my YouTube channel. I film videos for my patrons. I do lots of work and I love doing it. But I was finding it was a grind. I wasn't enjoying it. I was putting things off that ordinarily I'd have skipped down the garden path to do. When I knew it was time to have a breather, I just couldn't be asked to do it. And it was really sort of dragging me down, holding me back. And the things which used to bring me such pleasure were now doing the opposite. Now, just a few of the actionable steps which you can do when you find yourself in a position like that. Well, you can take a break, physically take a break. That's what I've done. I'm lucky, mind. I was able to get on a plane, zip away for a couple of days. My family are all off doing their own things at the moment. There was a window in my diary and I thought, this is it. I am taking a proper break. And I've come out here on my own, spending 3 or 4 days just indulging myself. What I've done in essence, I've pressed the reset button on my life. I've let everything go. I've purged myself of the stresses which I perceive to have been holding me back. And now it's like I am reborn after only a few days here. Mind is fresh, ready to take on the challenges again. Now, I acknowledge not everybody can do that. You might not have the financial ability to just zip off for a few days, or you might not have a gap in your diary. The other thing you can do is to lean into your hobbies, into your passions, because these are the things actually which are so vital, which get us through things in life. Whether that's, you can plan a fishing trip with a friend, or you can go on a walk that you've always wanted to down the coast, or, whatever is the hobby or the passion that you've wanted to follow. Because when you do it, even if it's only for an afternoon, it's a refreshing, resetting experience which can be so positive for your mental well-being. And the last little suggestion I have for you really is to tell somebody that you're feeling that way. I mean, so many of us chaps particularly, we believe we're tough and hard folks, don't we? And we shoulder the burden of our lives without complaint. But actually, sometimes if you tell somebody, if you tell your partner, they will make allowances for the fact that you're a little bit snappy at the moment, that you're not actually the best version of yourself to be around. They'll perhaps give you a bit of space to get your head together. Or tell your boss, just go and say to the boss, look, I'm at a breaking point here. I can't take any more work on. If anything, you need to unload me a little bit. And if the boss is a decent leader of people, they will understand, okay, we've got to protect our people, look after them, and they'll make allowances for you in that way too. But there we go. Sometimes you just know it's time to take a break. Sometimes life goes so fast you don't even notice the signs. Those were the signs that I noticed myself just recently, and that's why I'm here now having a break. I hope just talking through my experience may be helpful in your own life journey as well. If you've enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget, like it. Subscribe for more if you'd like to see more videos like this. If you want to join me on this journey, you can even become one of my patrons, the link to which is in my show notes below. And then you'll get the extra videos I make each week. But also, you'll have a personal dialogue with me, should you want it. So, there we go. Until the next time, folks, take care, and I'll see you again very soon.